Kenan, what you reading?
No, it's my resume. You know why I write down my name and all my work experience so that they'll be able to tell that I'll be a good mailroom worker.
Oh, let me see. Name, Kenan Rockamore. Work experience, Rigby's Grocery. Ah, hey, this is very impressive. And you got this job. Come on, now.
I think so.
Yeah.
You're right, Fred.
You know what I'm saying? What's up, dog? Hey, man, how you doing? You going out for the mailroom job, too?
I don't think so. I'll be interviewing for the executive vice president position. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a phone call on my cell phone. Yes.
I'll be interviewing for the executive vice president position because I have a nice briefcase and my cell phone.
I bet this guy's resume isn't better than yours.
You know what I'm saying, man?
Let me see.
Yeah, man.
Oh, wait, don't go in there, man. Let me see.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron. For those of y'all that don't know, my name is Adam.
And the capital of Turkey is Istanbul. I mean, my name is Aaron.
And we're here to talk to you about Corporate Kenan. It's the season 4, episode 1 of Kenan and Kel, the 90s Nickelodeon sitcom. We have made it to season 4, Aaron. We have crossed that threshold.
Somehow, we are talking about the final season of Kenan and Kel. Adam, I remember back in the beginning of quarantine when you were like, hey, remember that ridiculous idea for a podcast that we had? Let's do it. And I'm like, well, I can't say no because there's no really good excuse. And here we are with season 4. There's only, 13 episodes left? What is it?
I believe it's something in the tune of 13 episodes, and the movie might be some of them.
I got it right here. There's 13 episodes, and the 14, 15, and 16 are the movie.
But yeah, no, and quarantine will end when we finish this show.
I would imagine. I mean, if it didn't, right? It'll probably span over this will probably, continue up until like springtime, and then
COVID's just waiting for us to stop.
That's actually like been the thing the whole time, right? If we just stop the podcast, then we can take the masks off and go on with our merry way. But no, here we are.
Every week we take off, people are just like, no, don't. You can't.
What's his name? Anthony Fauci is secretly the biggest Kenan and Kel fan on planet Earth.
And he controls when it stops, too.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. So he's like, oh, no, I need to keep listening every week and preparing. All right, enough of this terrible, terrible joke. We are here in season 4, and Kenan and Kel are in their prime. I feel like this is they're so comfortable in their roles now, on stage and then in the episode as well, as you sip your orange soda.
Yeah, yes, I do. I don't think we've had a bad season premiere. The pilot's kind of like it's an off one. It doesn't exactly count, but you got like Screwing the Tuna, Parental Guidance, Fenced In, and now Corporate Kenan.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, they try to come out with their best idea first, because that's how you do it. You don't want to write a bad first chapter of a book. Nobody's going to read the rest. So we have another good episode here, folks. You're going to want to stick around for all the laughs, because there were laughs.
Let's get right into it. Let's join Cooley on the big orange couch for the 14th to last time.
Adam, if we still did the Dan Carlin style intros, which I would love to go back and write a Dan Carlin style analysis of the whole show. But like a whole, one of his episodes are 3 hours long. I feel like I could do that for this show. But if we were talking about this episode, I would definitely talk about corporate America and capitalism, and how it's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. Needless to say, we're on stage.
There's Kenan, there's Kel. They do the bit that we did. Kel has a giant book that he's pulling facts from. And
do you know what the book is called, Adam?
The Big Book of Everything.
And do you know what the book cover is on top of?
Is it like a big thesaurus?
That's definitely, absolutely, without a doubt, one of those library dictionaries. The giant ones they had on the carts?
Yeah, yes, I know that one. Weird that they had that, right? They had a cart dedicated to a book.
My question was always, why is that one so much bigger than the other ones? Because the dictionary, dictionary's a dictionary, right? It's all the words, but that one had more.
Maybe they cut some.
I feel like
Some
they
words
had
don't
like
make the final.
they had like the history of every word, and man, I feel like my students would do it would do them wonders to like hold a real dictionary. They'd be like, oh, there's so many words I don't know. Maybe I could use them.
Time to learn. Do you have vocab in your school?
I'm sure there's a vocab class, but vocab is so silly. They make you learn these ridiculous words from like medieval Europe, and
I don't know. I still use some that I learned from back then. I use raise a lot.
I use blase.
R-A-Z.
Blase is my favorite. Yeah.
Maybe we just like Z words that have Z's in them.
Yeah, I mean those are the cool ones. All right, so Kel is explaining all these different facts to Kenan. Like this one hardly made sense. Did he say the largest linen is 77 pounds?
Largest lemon is what I heard.
Lemon. I heard linen. I got linens on the brain. I have to fold my laundry, so
I have to do my laundry. Hey.
it's all. So, anyways, largest lemon, also similar to our last names, 77 pounds. That's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, that is 7 times what the world record is. So that tells you how goofy the world of Kenan and Kel is.
Wow. Could you imagine an 11-pound lemon? It's like a
I
squash. Pumpkin. It's like a pumpkin-sized lemon.
My question about those is that do they ever they eat them afterwards, right? They're like, oh, look how big it is. Then they have the world's biggest lemon
I don't
pie.
know. I would imagine they would probably take all the seeds out and try to plant even bigger lemon trees.
Unless they're true to seed. Have you heard about this?
Explain.
True to seed fruits mean that the seeds of them are just as unique as you and I are to mom and dad. They're a scramble of it, so their child might not taste the same way. Apples are like that.
I have heard of this, but I could explain to you how that works genetically, but I don't think we want to go there. But very cool,
No.
Fun factoid there, Adam.
We're like 3 asides in.
It's like 4. We need to get to the episode. Then Kel explains that camels have water in their humps, which I don't even know if that's true.
That's definitely true.
I saw a video today, literally, of a camel who was like spitting up like a chunk of his like flesh, and then he like
What?
swallowed it back again, and it was like a mating ritual.
Oh,
It's just ridiculous.
I mean,
It
if
looked like
she's
his
into
stomach.
that, you know.
This is the 4th aside. Okay. And then Kenan's like, oh yeah, that book has everything, right? Does it have my favorite color?
And he flips it open, and Kel says that it's right here. Your favorite color is plaid, which is an amazing callback to last season.
Amazing.
Yeah, in Who Loves Who, we learned that Kenan's favorite color is plaid. Not a color, but it's cool that's the same twice.
Adam, you know what movie has way too many callbacks?
Is it this episode?
Pirates of the Caribbean 2.
Oh, yeah?
That-
yeah, they
that
really
is
spent...
that is just all, it's like 10 callbacks. The first movie was so good. They're like, we just have to make a second one.
Yeah, especially the first half hour of it is just nonstop. Let's do a very tiny reminder of what everyone was doing and saying.
I just watched all 3 of those. I know there's more, but man, those are great
You can
movies.
stop there.
No, are you kidding?
They're so good.
They're great movies.
I watched them a couple months ago, and I'm ready to do it again.
Jack
I
Sparrow
cannot-
is just like this benevolent, like pirate. Like he's like a good-hearted bad person. Like I love it. He's just so. Anyways,
Tune in for our next podcast. That's 5 episodes long.
Adam, we should review all the movies from our childhood, like Transformers, Pirates of the Caribbean.
This is a good call.
Okay, all right, let's go.
Finally, Kenan asked the big question: if that book has everything in it, does it have this week's episode? And Kel looks inside and it does.
Trouble abounds when Kenan.
Kenan rips the book out of his hands and takes it away.
He didn't rip the page out because that's probably not their dictionary.
No. So I says, yeah, come on, Crunchy. And Cal, being meta as he is, says, I don't know why you call me names.
Why does it always have to be a surprise? Kenan! Oh, here it goes.
Let's get into the show.
And where do we start the show, Adam?
We start at the Rockmore household.
Yes, and a nicely set dining room table.
I noticed something this season, just to start off. It feels like the camera zooms into the set because the curtain's like right there.
Yeah. It's almost like in the corner. Yeah.
Whatever they did with the set craft of this episode is 10 A plus.
10 A pluses. Virgil is doing good with the directing right off the bat. Cheryl has a nice haircut, nice short haircut, and Roger is still bald. And Kenan and Kel look about the same, except like a little bit older.
Yeah, this is at their like not their oldest that we see throughout the show, but they're getting up there.
Yeah, they're definitely blossoming. So we have at the head of the table not Roger, but his good friend, Mr. Malone.
Yeah, and Mr. Malone is telling very embarrassing stories about Roger as a child, which we always talk about these Roger Kenan parallels. I very much see the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, they used to call him Crazy Roger.
Yeah, he once put a live something in the principal's car. Did you get that?
No, I did not.
He put a live animal in the principal's car.
That's a great idea. I should look into that. That is such a good idea.
I like the concept of putting a live animal there, and then people walk by and they're like, "That animal doesn't have any air." Then they break his windows.
That's a good one. Yeah. Like, and then Kel just comes out and says it. He goes, "If you guys went to the same school, how did you end up being rich?" And Roger or Mr. Rockmore just ended up being bald.
And Cheryl's like, "Let's not pry, but dude, how did you end up so rich?"
Right. Yeah, and so clearly Mr. Malone, he's wearing a suit, very successful, it seems. We learned that he's a multi-millionaire who owns his own business, and Kenan wants to learn all the tricks about how to get rich.
He's got like a pad and pencil, like taking notes.
Like being more diligent than he ever is at school.
I think the theme for this season that we're starting to get into is Kenan's kind of learning what he wants to do with his life. He's trying to progress on.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I teach kids who are his age, and so I'm like, okay, I know exactly what he's thinking. It's nice that he's motivated by money because today a lot of kids aren't motivated by anything. They're just like they're just like addicted to their phones, and that's about as far forward that they can see. They're like, when can I use my phone next? It's not that miserable, but they think about college and stuff. But kids aren't like interested in things. Like Kenan was interested in getting rich. He's like, I want to make a lot of money. And of course people want to make a lot of money, but he's actually putting a little bit of effort in. He's like, let me think about how it might be possible for me to get rich.
Yeah. So Mr. Malone kind of shares his secret of he worked in a mail room at a company. He got a job there. And then 10 years later, he was running the place. So I assume it was a lot of hard work. And go-getterness.
Meritocracy is definitely encouraged in this episode. It's like we're working hard. Kenan asks, "How did you get there?" And he says, 2 words: hard work. And then Kel goes, "Oh wait, I know how you got that job, or I know how you became the boss. You adopted a pet hyena, and then you taught it how to dance, and then it danced like this." And he showed it to the boss, and it danced like this. And then he starts dancing like his pet hyena.
I'm hyena.
I love the creativity.
Kel's very unhinged this episode.
He is. He's a little his ADD is kind of firing on all cylinders in the best way possible.
Kenan, kind of to show off himself, talks about his job that he has at Rigby's.
He's like, I'm no stranger to hard work, and everybody's kind of like rolling their eyes a little bit.
Yeah, everyone's laughing at him.
Yeah.
What question does Mr. Malone ask him?
How long have you worked there? And he says, 3 years? Have you ever asked for a raise?
Kenan's thinking about it. He's like, never.
And he's like, well, that is ridiculous. You got to go ask him for a raise. And Kenan goes like, yeah, you know what? I should ask him for a raise. And then there's this great scene where...
Smash cut.
Kenan goes, I'm going to march right into Chris's office and I'm going to say, give me... And it cuts to Chris's office. And Chris is like head down doing work. And Kenan's like, give me a raise.
Yeah, it's so good. I don't think we've seen anything like that since Screwing the Tuna.
Right. Yeah, no, this is a great little segue. And the way Kenan goes, give me a raise, his face is so funny. He's like pointing to this piece of paper. He's like, I need it. Give it to me now.
Chris ain't having it.
Chris is like, we just don't have the money to give you a raise, Kenan. I'm sorry.
Being real reasonable. And Cal also asked for a raise.
And Cal goes... Wait, hold on. I have the line. He said, I gave this store the best years of my life.
And this is how you repay me?
Then it's like, Kel, you don't work here. Oh, off to a great start. And he's like, no, but Chris, why? He's like, well, Kenan, we just can't afford it right now. And then Kenan says, I know. I'll quit. I'll just find another job. And he starts walking away, and Kel goes, wait, Kenan, if you quit, I can't get any more orange soda. And then Kenan very loudly is like, no. I'm just saying I'm going to go get another job so that Chris gives me a raise and wants me to stay. It's like, Kenan, trying to play a little big league game here of
It's a very adult move too.
Yeah.
Except usually you have the other job lined up.
Usually.
Yeah, so he's like, all right. Kenan announces it loudly, I'm gonna quit. Here I go. Quitting.
And Chris goes, wait, Kenan, I'm gonna miss you. He's like,
he gives him a big hug.
Yeah, he gives him a big hug. He goes, don't speak. I hate goodbyes. Now leave before I get all weepy. And he starts crying.
Yeah.
Just like that. He's like, see ya. Which is, unfortunately, like, that's how these kind of jobs are. Like if you don't want to work, get out of here. Like, it doesn't really matter.
It's not like Kenan does a lot of work at Rigby's.
Chris more so gives him a job because he likes him.
Yeah, I think it's like some kind of life debt deal.
Yeah.
like Chris like slipped on like ice. Kenan picked him up and he's like, "Do you want a job?" I'm sure. Yeah, fine.
I wish there was a story about Chris and like Roger going way back or something like that.
Ooh.
Or like if Chris had a crush on Cheryl or something like that.
We are in season 4. It's a little unfortunate that some of the other side characters aren't like developing more and doing other things.
Yeah, there hasn't really been a whole lot of Chris except for his mother, but it is the Kenan and Kel television program, so maybe we can look past that.
I think we're gonna see more from Chris's, connections later this season.
Yep. Well, we have to. We have unanswered questions.
Yeah.
What drives
then
Chris besides groceries?
I don't know if there's an answer to that.
I wish my life was that simple. Like, just, I am going to be the best grocer in the Chicago area.
I don't think he wants to be the best. I think he just wants to be the best that he can be.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he's just a simple grocer.
So Kenan leaves, and Cal leaves, but not before taking 7 orange soda bottles to go. Like big old 2 liters.
Yeah, there's a ton of orange soda in this episode already. Cal had a bottle at the dinner table, and now he just stole 7.
And now we go back to the Rockmore household where Cal is drinking those 7 bottles.
Yep.
Or trying to get one open.
He can't get one open, and so he's in the background while Kenan's doing this like soliloquy. He goes, I need a job. And he picks up the newspaper and he's looking like, I know what I need. I need a job in the mailroom, just like Mr. Malone.
Meanwhile, Kel is like throwing this bottle around, like slamming it on things. Like hitting the couch with it, the chairs.
He picks up the phone, calls 911 and asks for help.
Yeah, he shouts, "Help!" into the phone. This is a moment where I'm like, oh, okay, Kel's intelligence is a little lower to kick off this season.
Yeah, it's like he had like a concussion or something, and now he just needs orange soda or else.
I don't think season 1 Kel would struggle to open a bottle.
It does kind of, like, the continuity there is a little frustrating. Like, hey guys, like, we have these well-developed characters. Let's work with their skills instead of taking them away. Thinking people forgot. But I mean, Cal's like the orange soda guy, and people are like, we love orange soda, Cal. And so they're like, okay, here's 7 bottles, have fun.
So he fails to crack it open. He's like crying to Kenan, and Kenan's like, he goes over to the coffee table, grabs a different bottle, and opens it real easy and gives it to Kel.
Kel starts drinking it, and Kenan's like, oh, I found a job, and I'm gonna go apply. Just walks away, and Kel follows him. Meanwhile, the bottle that Kel was shaking is left on the table. Roger walks out with a sandwich.
As he does. That's like his signature item lately. It's just him having a sandwich. Well, how often is he having like dinner at or lunch, I should say, at his
just
house?
At the random hour, at his house. Like, doesn't he have a job?
Maybe not. We never saw him get back to the airport.
That's true. Yeah, maybe he collected some like
unemployment,
workers' comp, or unemployment, or I don't know.
I know he was fired for being a park ranger.
He was very bad at that. So he's like walking towards the TV probably, and then he's like, he turns around like he forgot something, like a drink. Then he sees the orange soda. He goes and he opens it, and of course it sprays everywhere. Nice effects here. Little orange soda fountain.
I'm sure they've been sitting on that prop for like 2 seasons. It's like, oh, we rigged up an orange soda bottle to spray everywhere.
They probably just needed a reason to spray it, and there we go. It's just a little fountain. It's like a little park fountain, except it's hooked into an orange soda bottle.
Don't say park around Roger. He'll have PTSD flashbacks to being attacked by a bear.
Trigger warning. So we cut to the company that Kenan found a mailroom job in, and it's named Dim Sum Enterprises.
Yes.
Adam, do you know what dim sum is?
Type of like a Asian cuisine.
Yes, it's like kind of like an appetizer type deal. I just had it yesterday.
Oh, nice.
I don't know what Dim Sum Enterprises does, and as we will find out, neither does anybody in this episode.
Yeah, it's just I guess it's very funny because you see this episode through the lens of a kid, and they're just like, oh yeah, a corporation.
Oh, company.
A company.
Business.
They have meetings.
Yeah, they wear ties. My dad works at one of those.
They have job interviews, which they don't disclose what the company does. Yeah, so...
Yes, actually. That's pretty... Yeah. Well, so imagine, like, if you apply to a job now, you can look up the company, research it, you can see all their partners and the website, and they didn't have that.
Anyone looking for a job, they always check the company website, form a question or two for the interview for them.
I would recommend...
doing a 2-year program.
No, I would recommend if you ever need a job, there's definitely some teachers programs out there where you can work for free and not make any money or get any experience relevant to what you want to do with your life. But make sure you have a resume, which Kenan does. So Kenan is dressed in a Dwight Schrute mustard shirt and a lemon tie. Call back to the first scene on stage.
Yeah.
And he is pacing in this Dim Sum Enterprises lobby, which is very nice, with a single sheet of paper.
And he has Kel look over it to make sure it looks good. Kel's dressed, I want to say, better than Kenan. He's got like a sweater vest on and
sweater vest, long sleeve tie. Yep.
I love Kel's attitude in this episode. He's like, oh, Kenan, you're applying for a job? All right, I'll be your boy. I'm going to be there. But I'll be... And Kenan's like, wait, I'm dressing up nice. He's like, no, I'll dress nice.
Yeah.
What does Kenan's resume say?
Well, one more thing that Kel's wearing, Adam. He's wearing a backwards black hat. Very classy.
Very classy.
Kenan's resume... He goes, here, Kel, look over this to see if it's all right. He's like, what is it? It's a resume. It has my name and my work experience. And he goes, name, Kenan Rockmore, work experience, Rigby's. It's like, that's all that's on it.
And you can tell, like, it's mostly a blank sheet of paper.
It's like a list, like a very simple Word document.
Yeah, and I think, do you think in this day and age you could get a job with a resume like that?
It depends what job. Mailroom job? Perhaps. My favorite episode of It's Always Sunny. They apply for a mailroom job. It's minimum wage, and Mac and Charlie split it. So they're like, oh, we just want the health benefit. There are no health benefits. And they just but they both almost have heart attacks because they just smoke cigarettes and drink coffee the whole time.
Yeah, that's what the cork board with all the. Yeah, like the lines on it.
Pepe Sylvia, I got boxes full of Pepe.
We work in a mail room. He's here. He's in the building.
I went over to the HR and I knocked on the door and I said, Carol! And I opened the door and there is no Carol in HR. This whole office is a ghost town. Anyways, that's my favorite episode. So I love mailroom episodes. Anyways, Kenan is applying for a job at the mailroom. I feel like his work experience is enough.
Yeah, Buddy the Elf got a job in the mailroom pretty easy.
Yeah, but his dad was a very important person in the building.
Yeah, it was technically nepotism, I suppose.
Yeah, it was actually. That's exactly.
There's someone else there for an interview.
He's a very gentlemanly man, professional. He has a briefcase, and we learn that his name, or Kel goes over to him. He's like, "Are you applying for a job in the mailroom?" And he goes, No, I'm applying for a job of the executive vice president or something like that. His name is
Reginald Van Buren.
Reginald Van Buren. And Mr. Van Buren is very prestigious, experienced. He's a professional. And he sees these two young kids, and he's like, get out of my way, almost. And then he gets a ding, 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 and he pulls out his cell phone.
Pager.
Yeah, or
cell phone.
Cell phone, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I forgot. This is July of 1999. He's got a cell phone.
Oh, he goes, I'm getting a call on my cellular phone or something. I mean, he might have said cell phone. I forget. And then he walks away, and then Kel's like, it's cell phone, right? And he goes, who is this Reginald Van Buren? Let me see his resume. And so he opens his briefcase and just starts throwing papers around.
Yeah, meanwhile, Kenan's freaking out, like picking up his stuff. So Kel finds the resume and starts reading through it. And he's like, Harvard? Business school? Yeah, he is well qualified for this position.
He was like, he's way more qualified than you. Cal was like thinking that nobody's more qualified than my boy Kenan. And he's
yes.
like, oh, this guy is definitely, I don't know what qualifications really are, but this guy definitely has more of them.
Cal's resume would be about as good as Kenan's at this moment.
It would have Stales Donuts and a Good Burger. Well, no, but in a parallel universe.
Reginald is returning, and Kenan is like hastily putting his papers back.
Reginald is returning.
Reginald will return.
That sounds like a Twilight Zone, like a.
It's a man that's every time he goes into a building, it's like he's going back there for the first time.
Oh boy! Then like the guy's coming back, and so they gotta shove the papers in. They sit down and act like play it all cool.
Then Kenan's called in for his interview.
Right, except Van Buren's resume got mixed up and didn't get back in the briefcase in time, and so Kel takes both of the resumes, doesn't want Van Buren to see Kenan and the other guys, Reginald, and he puts them behind his back. And then when it's time for Kenan's interview, he hands him Reginald's resume. That was hard to get out, but that is what happened, everybody. You have to believe me. That's the plot.
Yeah.
That's the entire plot of the episode.
As Kenan walks away, Kel's like looking through his pockets, and he goes, I've got a resume here for Kenan Rockmore. And he looks over at Reginald and says, like, wait a second, I know what's going on here. Your name's Kenan, right? He's like, no, it is not. And Kel's like, uh-oh, because he realizes what he did.
Yeah, exactly. So we go to the boardroom, which I love. I love this set. The walls match Kenan's shirt almost. It's like mustard and red walls, and it's like a big long table. And then there's this old white man who's the CEO, and he's interviewing Kenan, supposedly.
Well, he's a higher up. I wouldn't call him the CEO.
Right, he's not the CEO, right? He's just a higher level manager. And Kenan hands him this crumpled up resume of somebody who is not him. And he's this guy's looking over the resume, and he's just like glancing over it. He goes, wow, you've quite a lot of accomplishments for such a young man.
Kenan's all like, I've got boyish young looks. Like people look at me and they're like, oh, look at him. He's 16 and a half. I think that can't be his age right now.
I'm really upset that was like a line here, because I feel like he's definitely closer to like 17 and a half.
Or 18 even.
Right.
Not spoilers, but we have a graduation episode later this season.
Yeah, I mean, 16, but I mean, there are high school seniors who are 16 and a half right now, so that's a thing.
I'll have to run the numbers. We have a new pod page, and one of the main reasons why I created it was so that I can make a blog post where I can outline Kenan and Kel's age, because Wikipedia has them wrong.
Yes, that's a great thing, Adam.
Want to make a primary source there.
I'm very glad that you started that, because I really, really wanted to, but I don't have enough time to do things that are important to me, like create a Kenan and Kel website.
Yeah, the pod page is going to be linked in the show notes. He's like, oh yeah, and I see you were involved in the stock market too.
And Kenan goes, I stock things at my job. And the guy just laughs like, oh.
And you're funny.
Yeah, good sense of humor. He's a very jolly, like, interviewer. Not really challenging this man, Reginald, at all. He's just letting the resume that he was just handed speak for itself.
I gotta say, this looks like a good job. This looks like a nice company. There's a couple like bad eggs that we'll talk about later, but all in all, I would like this guy to be my boss.
Yeah, he seems very, very kind and friendly.
So Kenan, he's like, these are some weird questions. Can I see my resume for a minute? He passes it to him, and Kenan starts. You see the look on his face. His expression drops as he realizes what's going on here.
He is kind of in disbelief, but also not in disbelief. Because what happens is this man offers Kenan the job, executive vice president, with a salary of $100,000.
Yes, because at first Kenan is thinking to himself, there's been some kind of he's getting all nervous because he realizes what's going on when he's being offered the job. And the guy's just like, did someone else make you another offer? And then he offers him $10,000, which causes Kenan to fall over and spill water.
$100,000.
$100,000. Yeah.
Which might be more than his father makes.
I think so. That's even more money nowadays. Hang on, I'll do that inflation in a sec. So that's $164,000.
Wow, that's a lot of inflation.
Yeah.
And minimum wage is still $7.25.
That's what he offered. He falls on the ground. And I think it's really funny that what happens in the corporate office is what Kenan was trying to do to Chris. He was trying to play hard to get and pretend like he's going somewhere else so that he gets more money.
Yeah, so
and in the corporate environment, that actually works.
It does, especially if the guy has just met you and has just realized your credentials for this job position. I just like how ridiculous the concept is that the man who's hiring in the mailroom and the man who's hiring the executive vice president is the same person.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Like, don't you think he has a better, there's a floor manager in the mailroom who does the interviewing and the hiring, but
easily.
This is a kids show.
You're absolutely right there.
Yeah, so we just need to make it simple. So anyways, Kel, realizing his mistake, comes into the room and tries to sneak over to Kenan, but it's very obvious. Everybody knows that he's right there has this piece of paper and he's trying to get it to Kenan.
And he hops on the windowsill.
And the man's like, "Excuse me, who are you?"
"Oh, this is Kel. He's my assistant." He's like, "What are you doing here?" And the guy's just like, "All right, you drive a hard bargain. You're hired too." And Cal starts bouncing off the walls, knowing that he's hired.
Yep. So they're both hired at this company that they don't know what for, but Kenan's going to be making $100,000 a year. Simply, just no concept of the future here. This is just
No?
It's like a cartoon universe where it's just day by day, hour by hour.
I will say though, I vibed a lot with this episode.
Oh yeah.
I've worked at a job where I'm like, oh, what do I do? And you feel like Kenan does, because in the next scene he's sitting in his office, he's wearing a suit, like a big suit, and maybe it's the style from back in the day, but his suit looks enormous on him. And it really feels like that. There's a Rugrats episode where they envision themselves as adults, where there's baby heads on like the adult wearing a suit body.
Yep.
He's got that look, and sometimes you feel that way with your first couple jobs out of college. I
feel like it was kind of a bigger the suit, like the more powerful you are. Like there was definitely a phase, It's like you need a power suit. You can't have this like tight little suit. But yeah, so Kenan is sitting at this desk. His feet are up. His name is Reginald Van Buren, name tag. Everybody thinks his name is Reginald. And it's amazing how far this has come. Like, he didn't have to do any kind of... It's possible that, the actual Reginald Van Buren, sent some files in beforehand and, the plan for the company and,
I'm pretty sure he's working in the mailroom right now under the name Kenan. That's a whole separate episode.
It's quite possible. I'm surprised that all of this wasn't worked out right after this happened, with Reginald Van Buren waiting in the lobby for an interview, but we'll just ignore that for now.
it's a kids show. They don't talk about how he had to fill out workplace forms and put in his social security number.
This is why I liked You Dirty Rat, because it was so simple of a concept, and there was no need to like work around job interview, like specifics. But regardless, here we are in Reginald Van Buren, aka Kenan Rockmore's office, and in comes a purple Kel. He's wearing a purple suit. It's like a velvety purple suit with a purple hat. It looks fantastic.
He looks like $1 million. And Kenan's like, "Hey, Kel, watch this." And he says, clicks on the intercom. He's like, "Can you please bring me a bottle of orange soda?" A lady shows up with a bottle of orange soda.
And she places it on his desk. And Kenan doesn't say thank you. He just kind of raises his hands to the sky, and he's like, "How cool was that?" And Kel's
Kel
like, "Man,
agrees.
this is the best place ever." He starts drinking the orange soda, and Kenan's like, "Oh, he's really drinking it." And then you flip pan back, and it's like gone.
Yeah. He says, "Do it again, Kenan, do it again."
And Kenan's like, no, we gotta play it cool. Like, everybody thinks I'm Reginald, and you gotta stop calling me Kenan. Here, my name is Reginald.
And he's like, "Oh, he got it." He turns away, and then he turns back. Hey, Kenan. You ever learn what your job is? And I gotta say, this one's Kenan's fault.
And this is entirely Kenan's fault.
He got through all the paperwork. He did. He's in the job. Why did he do zero research between when he got hired and now?
I don't know. I mean, he has done nothing. Like, I feel like if he was put in this position, even with his limited experience, he'd be able to do something. Like, he'd be able to at least make a phone call. He definitely wouldn't be able to be the executive vice president, but he'd be able to do something.
He says that himself. He says I can make it up, but I still don't know what I'm doing.
He's like, I don't know what I'm making up and what for. I feel like it's actually a really good commentary on office jobs, like you were saying. Like, a lot of times you're just like, what is this for? Right? Like, why do I have to do this?
It's another little thing here, a little secret here. The executive vice president doesn't do much
of anything at all.
You could probably, as a teenager, do it.
You probably could.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. All you have to know is what the company does and make it sound good, which is what Kenan's trying to do. So he's actually doing the job of an executive vice president, right? And so what he does is he sends Cal out to survey the field, and he's like, go around and find out what this company does. And Cal's like, oh, okay, got it.
Cal, right before that, suggests that maybe they sell dirt. Which he's like, yeah, no. So he goes out, and the guy that hired Kenan shows up. He says, "Reginald, how's your first day going?" And what's his task for Reggie this day?
For Reggie, his task, he gives him the task of, in a couple hours, he's going to have to give a speech at a meeting, not a presentation.
And outline your goals for the company.
Outline, yeah, your goals and your plan for the company, and Kenan's like, oh yeah, okay, got it. And it's at 4:00 today. See you then.
Kenan tries to get out of it by saying, "I got a bad case of the termites or something," and at something that has worked on Chris in the past. Kenan just saying some nonsense. Now to this new guy, it just does he's like, "Oh, Reginald, you're so funny. See you at 4."
Right. Exactly. And he's just kind of scrambling now. He's like, I got to go find Kel to find out what this company's about. So we cut to Kel, and there's a guy filling up his water cup at the water fountain, which it's the lobby set, but
yeah,
there's an office worker there, right? Filling up his water cup. It's very off-putting. It's like a hotel lobby, basically. That's what I mean, up high in an office building.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
What does Kel do?
He runs over, knocks the cup of water out of his hand, gets it all over the guy, and he says, "What do you do here?" What does this company do?
So yeah, Kenan's just I gotta give a speech in 2 hours.
What does the company do? And Kel's like, I don't know, the people here are mean.
And then Kel's like, maybe we're shepherds.
I didn't hear that one. That's funny.
Kenan now tries to do some reconnaissance himself. And he goes up to a very strict-looking gentleman that wears glasses.
Yeah, he's kind of like a nerd, very type A, driven.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to shake his hand. He introduces himself. And the other guy's, he is the vice president of supervisor.
He's supervising vice president Wayne Connolly.
Connolly,
Which I think is funny because like they're all different vice presidents of things, and they all have like nothing jobs.
It's kind of true, right? Most of these like high up position job, not most, but a lot of these high up position jobs, it's very strategic, right? But the way you get there is through networking and through
I was talking about how like work culture seemed relaxed earlier, but when you think about it, they are hiring like their vice president from outside of the company. They're not like upgrading someone that already works there.
Right. There doesn't really seem to be much organizational culture except for the fact that they are a corporate office.
They're not very good at branding either, since Kenan's so hard. It's so hard for him to see what they do.
I just love how we just have to talk about how this episode has progressed. Like Kenan wanted a job at a mailroom. Why? Because Mr. Malone had a job in a mailroom. Like he could have gotten any job that was interesting to him in a company that was interesting to him, but no, he decided the classic mailroom, work your way up, like grab life by the bootstraps kind of deal. And so he ends up getting the executive position job, like the exact job that he probably would have wanted in the first place if he had known what it was. But it's just like, what is happening here?
We've talked about before how much the scale of trouble that they get into. This is some big trouble.
Yeah, this is like, he could seriously jeopardize like what's going on here.
He could cost them like easily like a whole lot of overhead, like instantly. He says to Wayne Conley, he's like, you know what I love to do? I love to tell people what our company does and give them a detailed description of what my job is. Here, you pretend to be me.
I mean, I just like Kenan he's really trying here. He's really trying. Adam, I have a question though. If you were in Kel's position and you were given the task to go find out what the company does, what would you have done?
I would probably have I would have asked that lady that has all the papers and delivers things.
Secretary?
Yeah, the secretary. I would go up to her and say, hey, can you give me the most recent reports?
Oh, yeah? Yeah. I would be like, hey, I just started here. Can you tell me about like this company? Like, what do you like about it?
It could also be like, hey, have you ever bought anything from this company? What did you buy?
I feel like there's so many ways to find out what Dim Sum Enterprises does, but they're probably like a packaged food distributor. Is it Dim Sum?
Maybe. Oh, wait, you didn't see the end of the episode.
No.
The final part, they reveal what the company does at the end.
No way.
Yeah, so
we gotta get to that, Adam.
Yes, I know what the answer is too.
Oh my God.
Your guess is food manufacturing?
Yes.
Wayne's basically just like, I have work to do. And Keen's just like, but what kind of work?
He's like, I'm busy.
Meanwhile, what is Kel doing that every office bit like revolves around?
I don't know.
He gets his tie caught in the scanner.
Oh yeah. He is like, doing like a photo scan of he ties caught in the scanner, and then he puts his face on the scanner, and they're stuck, and then there's like a snap cut to Kel's face on a piece of paper, like scanned. Kenan's sitting at his desk. He's got a yellow legal pad. He's just like throwing papers around. He has no idea what's going on.
He is not ready for this. But he does have enough time to make a scheme with Kel.
A big scheme.
First, Kel is playing with the intercom.
Yep, and they're in the same room.
Yeah, it's a fun gag. The camera pans over. Good job, Virgil.
Yeah, Kel's desk is right next to Kenan's. Or not right next, but in like the corner of the office.
Kel says my favorite line of the episode. Hey, Kenan, can I have next Wednesday off?
and he's just like, no, we need to get me out of this speech. And then Kenan goes, I got it. When I'm in there, you can distract me. Or like come in and pull me out of the meeting.
And then Kel's like, okay, yeah, I'll come in and say that your grandmother got eaten by lions. He's just like workshop that, get something better.
Yeah, he's like do a little bit better than that. He's like, okay, but if I do that, can I have off on Wednesday?
So finally, the hiring manager comes in. He might be a CEO now that I think about it.
Meanwhile, by the way, Kel's tie is now ripped from like halfway. Yeah. But anyways, we're back in the conference room. We have Kenan or Reginald, and that other nerd guy, the vice president, and the CEO or the guy who hired him, and it looks like secretary taking notes, and we're all ready for Kenan's big speech.
There's an array of vice presidents there.
What's supposed to be important-looking people, but they do not look that important.
No, Kenan learns that the president is going to stop by and say hi, which is handy because Kenan has met the president. He actually saved his life in Rigby's.
Oh boy!
No, the president of the company.
Don't you bring that episode up? I had forgotten about it.
So sorry.
That was the worst episode. Oh my god!
Yeah.
The whole like guy from the other country came in and he was just like, oh my gosh. Well, Cal.
That episode, great set though.
Oh, it was a good set.
Made by Mary and Friends.
Oh, that's true. That is true, right? It was made by No, that was a fantastic set. Sorry, I was so critical of that episode. That's a great set. The writing wasn't that great, but that set, the Oval Office, well done. So we pan to Kel outside the office. He's like ready to go interrupt Kenan, but then he like can't think of something to say. He's like still brainstorming.
Your dad's been attacked by killer clowns. No, that's not it.
And then he gets distracted by seeing the copier again, which again is just in this like lobby type area that just does not look like an office space.
He says, I got a couple more seconds.
He goes and sits on it.
Scans his butt. Yeah. And Kenan is just biding for time in the worst way that he does.
He goes, doesn't he go like, so my name is Reginald. Doesn't he say something like that?
Yeah. My name is Reginald. You can call me Reggie, or Reg, or Hank. He does a thing where he drinks water. then he drinks water again.
And he just pretends he has a cough.
Yeah. He goes, profits, then takes another drink.
I was pretty impressed with that. Like he knew a word.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you can call me this, call me that. My mom used to call me Boo Boo, but that don't have to call me that.
Meeting adjourned. And he goes to walk away. Yeah, Connolly's is all like, Boo Boo.
Yeah, don't you have anything to say about corporate downsizing? And he's like, yeah, that sounds good. I support it. And then this other guy stands up, the guy who Kel knocked the water out of his hand, I'm pretty sure. And he
Johnson.
goes,
yeah.
How, like, what? Hundreds of people are going to lose their jobs.
Yeah, man of the people, Johnson. Good job.
Yeah, man of the people, a real workers' rights advocate. And then Kenan just goes, you're fired. He panics.
And Connolly's just like, what? You can't fire him.
He's like, oh, you're fired too.
Meanwhile, Kel gets his foot caught in the trash can.
Wait. Before he fires Connolly, he climbs on the table, and then he's standing on his knees.
Yeah, and he's just like, I am the executive vice president. I can fire whoever I want.
He probably meant to stand on the whole table, but like Virgil was like, no, you're out of frame.
That's a good point.
And then, yeah. He's like, I can fire whoever I want. And then, we cut to Kel, and he jumps off the printer, and he gets his foot stuck in the trash can. And his foot's stuck, and then he goes over to the water pitcher, and he grabs the water container, and then he just is getting water everywhere. And then there's an open window, and he throws the water out the window, and then he's like, oh, no, I dropped it out the window. I'm sorry. He leans out the window.
Yeah, you hear a crash and like a car peel out.
Like that.
It's basically, I thought of the scene from Die Hard. As Cal peeks his head out the window to say, I'm sorry, his hat flies, like, on the, what do you call that thing? Like on the ledge.
Yeah, on the ledge. So he is hatless. Cal, of course, needing his purple hat to go with his purple outfit, climbs out on the ledge, does like this balancing squat thing, catches himself. He goes, shimmies over, grabs his hat, and then the secretary comes by and is like cold, so she closes the window. And then Kel is, of course, stuck out on the ledge. Probably the most dangerous moment of Kenan and Kel we have seen so far.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Or is it dangerous? You haven't seen the ending yet. And we cut back to the conference room. Kenan says, you're fired too. To someone else.
Fires the last vice president.
And Kenan says, my favorite line of his, I'm the EVP. That's Eve.
And he goes, where was I? And then Johnson goes, you just fired Bob. And Kenan goes, thank you for listening. You're rehired.
He like shakes his hand. He seems genuinely like happy that happens.
Yeah, he was
scared.
Like,
oh, cool,
he's like,
I
you got your
back.
job back. He's like, all right. And then the guy goes, this is unacceptable. And then in walks a man who just seems like he slipped on all the water that Kel spilled. And it is none other than Mr. Malone.
Yes. He's like, I would have been here sooner, but some idiot dropped a water jug over the building.
And Kenan's face is just like, oh my God. Oh. And he's trying to hide behind like a statue that is not hideable behind.
Yeah, he goes over to the blinds, turns away, and starts fiddling with them.
He's like touching the wall and like admiring it.
And he's like, nice to meet you. And he's like, oh, yes, very nice to meet you too. I'm just fixing the blinds here. And he opens up the blinds, and there's Kel out there on the ledge in the window.
And then he closes it really quick, goes over to the other wall, and then the guy's like, wait a second, there was somebody out there. And so he opens the blinds, and there's Kel. And he goes, wait a second, I've seen him before.
Multimillionaire hard worker Mr. Malone recognizes Kel. Then he puts two and two together and says, Kenan, is that you?
Turns around, it's Kenan.
And Kenan's just like, meeting adjourned, runs out the door.
Yeah, he gives like a peace sign, and he's like, see ya.
Meanwhile, Kel falls off the building.
Yeah, that's scary. That's how the episode ended for me. Like it's a
That is terrifying that's how it ended.
A real cliffhanger here, Paramount Plus. Do better.
3 things happen in the ending that will blow your mind.
I would imagine.
Okay, so first off, Kel is sneezing, and Kenan's like, "Oh, why are you so sneezy?" And he's like, "Well, when I fell off the ledge, I landed in a truck full of feathers."
Oh my God. Of course he did.
Yeah, and he says, so did Chris give you your job back? And Kenan was, yeah, he was so happy that he decided to give me the raise after all.
Oh my God.
And he says, that's cool. And then Kenan's like, and you know what else? I found out what Dim Sum Enterprises does. They are the largest manufacturer of orange soda in the world.
Oh my God. Ah!
Yeah, they apparently own Food Lion, I guess, since that's what they brought in.
Right. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and Kel's just like, what? No! You gotta get your job back.
Dude, could you imagine? Like, don't you think Mr. Malone should have said that? Don't you think Mr. Malone could have helped them get jobs? Especially if they were hiring in the mailroom that he used to work in?
Yeah, right. He saw Kel drinking a 2-liter of orange soda at dinner.
Well, I started in the mailroom when I was about your age.
He knows them. He recognizes them on sight. Kenan's just like, nah, I'm not getting that job back. But I found a way that we can wrestle alligators. Does that sound good?
Kel had all these abstract, like, animal reference. All these, like, he must have watched some TV show about Africa or something like that. Because, I mean, he referenced hyenas, lions, and alligators.
Oh my.
That is the Serengeti right there.
He says, grab a cupful of beans, handful of dirt, and a dog named Blue, and meet me down by the old oak tree. Come on, Sneezy.
A dog named Blue.
Yeah.
Is that reference to the show that is soon to start? Blue's Clues?
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't put that together. I don't know what the cupful of beans is about, or the handful of dirt.
I don't know what that's about either. Anyways, that seems like the episode. Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah. Whose fault do you think the situation is? Kenan's or Kel's?
Kenan's.
Really? You don't think Kel's mixing up the resumes had anything to do with it?
No, Kenan, that happens sometimes. Kenan went along with it.
He tried to get out until he heard the $100,000 figure.
Well, that makes it Kenan's fault. I would say it's Kenan's fault.
Yeah, he could have easily said something.
Kel was just there supporting him. You got to expect worst case scenario with Kel. I think it's on Kenan that he did not suspect that.
I will take this as a Kenan's fault. Because he also didn't learn about the job either.
Right. I mean, like, come on, dude.
That's on him.
If I randomly stumbled into the executive vice president's job, I would do certainly more than he did.
Yeah, he'd at least give it a shot. But
right.
I like to think that maybe that was him being lazy and procrastinating. He's like, I got a $100,000 job, and he just $100,000, and he never did anything else except that.
Right. He thinks that he's gonna make that much money all at once.
Well, do you think he got paid for his day of work?
Absolutely not. I think Mr. Malone probably gave him like $50 and it's like, get out of here.
I don't think he got any money for hitting him with a water bottle and ruining a corporate meeting. And turning away a very good client, a very good hire, probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, he seemed like Van Buren seemed like qualified.
I thought this was a pretty good way to kick off season 4. It is a little silly. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a little too silly for like compared to some of our season 3 episodes, I would say.
A little less grounded. There's included Kenan stumbling into being a vice president and Kel falling into a giant truck full of feathers.
It was definitely funny, but a little like I mean, last season we kind of ended with like, you know, Kenan and Sharla and like, you know, normal things happening to like young people, and then there's this, which is funny, but you know.
Yeah, it's nice to see a comparison with this in like He Got Job, for example.
Right.
Because that one I think did a real good job, like hyping up Kel.
Exactly.
And showing you a lot more. Although I did, like I said, I vibed with Kenan being on a job that you're like, what do I do?
Right. There was a lot of good moments this episode, just like the way Kenan was dressed in his mustard shirt, and just like how simple his resume was, and the cut with Chris, and the scenes with Roger. I think overall a very solid episode.
And I have to ask, this episode was written by Savage Steve Holland, a writer who we've teased for various episodes. Let me go over his run real quick here, because this is his last episode that he wrote. A Star is Peeved, To Catch a Thief, Happy B-Day Mark, House Sitter, He Got Job, and Corporate Kenan. Funny that he wrote both Job episodes.
He must have worked in corporate America for a long time.
Yeah. How do you think this one stacks up to all those?
It's definitely in the upper half, but nothing remarkable.
It falls shy of He Got Job to me.
Yeah. I think so. I think He Got Job was better.
I will say to you, looking at the list of writers here, I have to mention, one of the writers on the show is called Wayne Connolly.
Oh yeah. He writes the next episode.
Yes.
How about that?
So that's a call out to him, apparently, the snooty supervising vice president. That might be him.
It's quite possible.
I might have to look this up.
It is.
He's got a cameo.
Quite possible.
Okay, let's get into ratings. So this episode is ranked, has a 7.7 out of 10 on IMDb, putting it at 28, which is high medium on our list of 62 Kenan and Kel episodes. Aaron, out of 10 bottles of orange soda, how many would you give Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron? It's episode 50, season 4, episode 1, Corporate Kenan.
I would give this 8 bottles of orange soda. One more than actually probably the number of bottles that Kel consumed this episode. Just shy.
Yeah.
Eight bottles.
Nice.
Solid score, but not the best.
This one, in my opinion, worked its way down from a 9 to an 8.5. I don't think it has as much staying power. I think Kel gets a little bit more spotlight than I appreciate. But I really like not the lesson. I don't think there's a lesson here besides be honest. I enjoy how much this show has scaled up. And I hope that season 4 continues to deliver of this kind of caliber and setting.
I agree wholeheartedly. So an 8 and an 8.5. That's what we have for Corporate Kenan. Next week, we have the second episode of season 4, the 51st episode overall, called The Honeymoon's Over, directed by Kim Fields Freeman, our good friend, and written by Wayne Connolly.
Yes, we get into the next one. Another really high class season 4 episode. So people don't like this season for some reason. They think the characters are pretty old. They're a little long in the tooth.
Yeah, you know what? Well, people like it, or people don't like it when things kind of run their course. And I feel like season 3 was like the prime, and so season 4 it was kind of like, is this gonna keep going? Oh, Kenan and Kel still, it was relevant for 3 years. It wasn't new anymore. So, but here we are, still reviewing it, and I still enjoy it. So we hope you do too, people.
Same. All right, just send us out.
Until next time, everybody. Here goes. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Kenan and Kel with Adam and Aaron. If you want to stay in touch, send us an email at KenanKelPodcast@gmail.com, or you can send us a voice message at anchor.fm/KenanKelPodcast. Our social media accounts are all at KenanKelPodcast. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Thanks, everybody.
For those of y'all that don't know my name, it's Kenan. And no, wait.